right, so this is going to be another movie review. This one's called Raw Deal 1986, giving 3 out of 5 stars. Thought it was all right. Not not that great. It did have a lot of explosions. Some of the lines from Arnold Schwarzenegger were kind of funny. The system gave him a raw deal. Nobody gives him a raw deal. The movie poster looks kind of cool with Arnold and his hairspray wife beater. Arnold Schwarzenegger, I vote for Kamala Harris. This is going to be another Karate Man recommendation. Raw Deal is a 1986 U.S. action film directed by John Irvin. John Irvin. John Irvin, from a story by Luciano Vincenzoni and Sergio Donati, and a script by Gary DeVore and Norman Wexler. The film stars Arnold Schwarzenegger, Carolyn Harold, Darren McGavin, and Sam Wanamaker. In the film, Harry Shannon, an elderly FBI agent, recruits Mark Kaminsky, an FBI agent turned small-town sheriff, to destroy a mafia organization. Raw Deal was released in North America on June 6, 1986, to negative reviews from critics. The film grossed $16.2 million in the U.S. against its 8 to 10 million budget. So I'm guessing Wikipedia is going to say it's break even when you factor in marketing costs. That's what I'm guessing. All right. Distributed by De Laurentiis Entertainment Group. We like Dino De Laurentiis on this channel. Released June 6, 1986. Running time 101 minutes. Country United States. Language English. Budget 8 to 10 million. Box office 16.2 million. On December 16, 1985, in a remote wooded cabin, a mob informant is under protection by the FBI. They are ambushed by a hit squad who brutally slaughter the bodyguards and the witness. One of the agents killed is Blair Shannon, son of FBI agent Harry Shannon, who vows revenge. Why do we need an FBI in the first place? What is the purpose of that? After capturing a man posing as a motorcycle cop, small-town sheriff Mark Kaminsky goes home to his alcoholic wife, Amy, who resents that their lives have been reduced to. What their lives have been reduced to. Kaminsky once worked for the FBI, but 5 years ago, he brutally beat a suspect who sexually assaulted and murdered a young girl. Kaminsky was given the option to resign or be prosecuted by ambitious prosecutor Marvin Baxter, who is now special federal prosecutor heading up a committee investigating the dealings of Luigi Patrovita, the strongest of the Chicago outfit dons, due to a leak within the FBI ranks, causing their agents to be killed. Shannon recruits Kaminsky for an unsanctioned assignment to infiltrate and dismantle Patrovita's organization. Kaminsky fakes his own death in a chemical plant explosion. That's a really cool explosion, by the way. One of the highlights of the movie. And he poses as convicted felon Joseph P. Brenner. He manages to get an audience with Petrovita's right-hand man, Paulo Rocca, and he convinces them of his worth by harassing Martin Leminski, a rival mob boss who's trying to move in on his former boss, Petrovita's territory. While at Petrovita's casino, hidden in the basement level of a high-class hotel, he makes the acquaintance of Monique, who works for Rocca's top lieutenant Max Keller. Kaminsky continues to work his way into the good graces of the Petrovita family, including devising a plan that recovers $100 million of heroin and cash seized by the feds from one of Petrovita's hideouts and simultaneously assisting in Lemansky's assassination. They don't call it heroin in this movie, they call it smack. And since I don't do drugs, I just realized it was heroin when I read that. Keller isn't convinced that Brenner is who he says. And Keller manages to find proof of the deception, showing Kaminsky's photo to a police informant who previously arrested the real Brenner. The leak the FBI had been looking for is revealed to be Baxter, who is forced to stay close to Petrovita. Kaminsky accompanies Keller to a cemetery for a hit job, but discovers that the target is Shannon, forcing Kaminsky to blow his cover and kill Keller. In the ensuing shootout, Shannon is severely wounded and crippled. Kaminsky escapes with Monique's assistant. He tells her to go to the airport and wait for him. After gathering an arsenal of firearms, pretty cool looking bag of goodies I don't know how he's able to carry all that. Kaminsky raids one of Petrovita's gravel pits, killing everyone and stealing a large amount of drug money. He then sets off for Petrovita's casino where he embarks on a killing spree. Yeah, talk about blowing up the neighborhood. Single-handedly wiping out all his soldiers, including the men directly responsible for the murder of Blair and his fellow FBI agents. Rocca and Petrovita retreat to a back room, but Rocca is cut down in a barrage of gunfire. Petrovita flees into an office, pleading for his life, but Kaminsky mercilessly guns him down. On his way out, he encounters a whimpering Baxter. Yeah, and he pours candy on the guy. Another great scene. On the way out, he encounters a whimpering Baxter who tries to talk his way out of apologizing for what happened 5 years ago. Kaminsky responds to Baxter by saying that because of him, a lot of people are dead, and now it's his turn. And he offers him a gun with the same line Baxter gave him 5 years earlier. Resign or be prosecuted. Any way you want it. Kaminsky starts to walk off. And when Baxter attempts to shoot him, Kaminsky turns and shoots Baxter dead in self-defense. After driving to the airport, Kaminsky hands a duffel bag containing $250,000 in cash to Monique and gets her on a chartered plane, telling her she is free and can start a new life with no obligations to anyone. During the aftermath, Kaminsky is reinstated with the FBI, and he is reunited with a pregnant Amy. Kaminsky visits a despondent Shannon, who refuses to undergo physical therapy. All right. Well, shooting took place in October 1985 in Chicago, Illinois, and Wilmington, North Carolina. So I watched 2 Chicago movies back to back. I'm sick of Chicago. I want to watch Frankenstein now, which is an Adrian recommendation. All right, Raw Deal released in the United States on June 6th, 1986, and it made $5.4 million in its opening weekend. It went on to gross a total of $16.2 million in the United States. Its earnings were considered a disappointment. I knew they were going to say that. Roger Ebert gives the film 1.5 stars out of 4 and wrote, "This plot is so simple and has been told so many times before that perhaps the most amazing achievement of Raw Deal is its ability to screw it up. This movie didn't just happen to be a mess. The filmmakers had to work to make it so confusing." Vincent Canby of the New York Times wrote that the film isn't exactly Oscar material. It does nothing for the cause of nonviolence. It will warm the hearts of gun lobbyists everywhere, and its final body count may be even higher than that in Mr. Stallone's Cobra, which is Rambo Raff for Life's favorite movie poster. Yet Raw Deal somehow manages to be measurably less offensive. At times, it's almost funny intentionally. The jokes are funny. I like the Arnold Schwarzenegger jokes. I like the explosions, but the rest of the movie, eh, not that great. Todd McCarthy of Variety reported comic book crime Meller suffers from an irredeemable, awful script, and even director John Irvin's engaging sense of how absurd the proceedings are can't work an alchemist's magic. Writing in the Los Angeles Times, Sheila Benson began, "Has it come to this? That we can feel vaguely cheered that Raw Deal citywide, where the bodies again pile up like cordwood, is better made movie than Cobra?" However, she praised Schwarzenegger, saying his strength as an actor is not that he can toss grown men over ceiling beams, but that he has a vein of sweetness and self deprecation that no amount of mayhem can obliterate. It has shown from him since pumping iron. It has allowed him to surmount silly and unwise pieces of action, such as the drunk scenes in one of the Conans and here, and even his own awkwardness as an actor. Gene Siskel of the Chicago Tribune gave the film 1 star out of 4 and noted that it had essentially the same story as Cobra, but it is told with so many superfluous characters that we're never really sure whose side a few key people are on. Needless to say, in a film filled with punch-outs, we really don't care. We very quickly don't care. Excuse me. Paul Atanasio of the Washington Post dismissed the film as a mostly tedious, cheaply made shoot 'em up that recycles the cliches that have long been the cud of television cop dramas. Pauline Kael of the New Yorker called it reprehensible and enjoyable, the kind of movie that makes you feel brain dead after 2 minutes, after which point you're ready to laugh at its mixture of trashiness, violence, and startlingly silly, crude humor. Raw Deal holds a score of 31% on review aggregator Rotten Tomatoes based on 16 reviews with an average rating of 4.6 out of 10 on Metacritic. The film has a weighted average score of 44 out of 100 based on 12 reviews indicated mixed or average reviews. Audiences polled by CinemaScore gave the film an average grade of B on an A plus to F scale. All right. Not a great Arnold film. There's nobody in the chat room once again. All right. Raw Deal 1986, rated R, 1 hour 46 minutes too long, gets a somewhat mediocre 5.6 out of 10 on IMDb, 39,000 ratings. This is a late stream movie. A former FBI agent turned small town sheriff agrees to help the FBI chief infiltrate the Chicago Mafia when the FBI chief's son is killed by them. All right. More like this: Red Heat, Eraser, Collateral Damage, and Commando. You can get Commando on free. You can get this movie and Commando for free on Amazon Prime, but they put commercials on there. They're trying to be like Tubi or not to be. According to Arnold Schwarzenegger, Dino De Laurentiis decided to produce this film because he needed quick cash for his long gestating project, Total Recall, 1990. At that time, he owned the rights to the film. The failure of this film to make adequate money, only $16 million, resulted in De Laurentiis' bankruptcy and Recall's sale of rights to Koroko. At the shootout in the end, Kaminsky shoots one of the gangsters while lying down next to a bar counter. The squibs attached to the guy goes off before Kaminsky has aimed or fired the weapon at him. Mark Kaminsky, 1133. You should not drink and bake. That's another funny Arnold quote. Edited in the Joey Salads collection, 2019. Soundtracks: One Way Rider, written by Rodney Crowell, performed by Ricky Skaggs. All right. Here's a somewhat mediocre rating. I actually rated it higher than this person. D World Eater posted a review on IMDb dated August 12th, 2015. D World Eater gives Raw Deal a 5 out of 10. I'm giving it a 6 out of 10. The title of D World Eaters movie review on IMDb is: it is an audience that gets a raw deal from this troubled production. In Arnold's best period of his film career, it is unquestionable that Raw Deal is his worst film from that era, sandwiched between two of his best action movies, Commando and Predator. Raw Deal is really weak by comparison. The film is a mess, and it seemed that those involved with the production could not agree on what they were making. Also, it would appear that funds were too low for anyone's vision to get on screen. The editing and music for this movie is really poorly done. This film is definitely lacking in a consistent tone or focus. The action scenes seem out of place as well. Raw Deal was probably meant to be a low-budget police thriller. Any way you slice it, this film is not a cohesive piece of work and is filled with plot holes. Arnold, at this point in his career, had massive physicality and charisma. However, he was lacking in acting skills, and he was horrendous in the more dramatic scenes here. The supporting cast was pretty good for the most part, even though this is not Arnie's highest quality production. It still remains fairly entertaining. There's quite a bit of funny stuff here, some intentional and some not. Also, there's plenty of Arnold one-liners, with one of my favorites: "You should not drink and bake." That was a good one. And it was right in the beginning, too. While Raw Deal is not a well-made movie, it is not totally unwatchable and is still quite amusing and outrageous. That's a pretty accurate a pretty accurate review. I should change my rating to 2.5. out of 5 stars just based on that review. I'm in agreement. Totally. All right. Going down the pike, we've got Frankenstein, 1931, The Great Gabbo, 1921, and Twins, 1988. So those are my next 3 movies. Thanks for checking out my channel. I'm going to take a little nappy poo, then watch some Frankenstein. Ah.